Manchester City are away to Juventus tonight. It's a massive game, isn't it? Juventus, Manchester City, at any time, no matter the form of either club, this is a very big game. Pep Guardiola has been speaking ahead of it, and he's been saying that he's set to take a break from club management when his City contract expires in 2027. In an interview with the Spanish chef, Danny Garcia, these chefs got all the big interviews, don't they? Guardiola said he simply didn't have the energy to move to another club to start afresh with a new club. He says, "No, I'm going to stop, but I'm not going to join another team." He says, "I'm still here, but to think about starting again, the whole process of training, and no. A national team, yes." So interestingly, he's sending a little message there. What do you think he's doing there, Simon? Is he putting the FA on notice?
I don't know. I mean, the big argument is he can't manage Spain because it's Catalonia.
Has he ever said that, though?
I think there's a very big divide between people that live in Catalonia. He played for Barcelona, yeah. He played for Spain as well. So there might be that argument. You know, playing for your country and managing your country might be two different things in his mind. But you're right, he did play for his country, so that argument might be moot. I mean, do I think he's playing to the gallery of England?
No,
not particularly. No.
I think it's a generic answer that makes sense because he's so intense and works so hard for a period of years that he's probably suggesting the next job he does, hopefully isn't. But
he's here. I mean, he's at Manchester City until the end of the 26-27 season, isn't he?
Yeah.
So Tuchel's contract expires 26. In the middle of 26.
Yeah.
So there'll be a year gap, even if he were, for want of a better expression.
But he could end up managing Brazil or Argentina or any. You know, he's going to be sought after by any national team. So, I think he'll have the pick.
I get not another club. I mean, when you've managed Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, where do you go after that? But we shall see. Manchester City, as I said, away to Juventus tonight. Elsewhere, Simon, although we haven't heard much of the detail because it's well nigh impossible to get any detail, the hearing into the Premier League's 115 charges against City is concluded. What do we know? Not much. Closing arguments were made last Friday. And the three-man panel is away now to consider evidence before delivering a verdict in the coming months. Pep has made one or two comments about this, Simon. Is he right? Does everybody really want to see Manchester City relegated? Or is that just football tribalism? Fans of other clubs saying, yeah, kick them out, get rid of them, put them down a division, or better still, a couple of divisions.
Does everybody want to see it? If they've cheated, then people want to see them get the consequences of it, and the manner in which they've operated. I don't have an issue with Man City besides the fact that I think that the way they've operated and defending themselves has been, they haven't been cooperative, they haven't been supportive. Some would say, why should they have to be? Well, if you're not guilty of something, you tend to be very robust in defending it very quickly and nipping it in the bud. So I have that resistance about the way that they operate there. But I also have this underlying fundamental change that I believe that PSR is a load of old cobblers and is destroying the Premier League and is turning it into something that was never meant to be.
You'd rip it up now.
I would.
Yeah.
What's it achieving? What's it fixing? What did it fix? What was broken? What was broken? The distribution has always been buggered. That's nothing to do with PSR.
Wasn't broken, was it?
So what you're doing, you're taking the most investable league in the world and you're saying to it, we're going to make rules, which means that you no longer can be investable anymore, and then we're going to sanction you if you do try to invest. It's just nonsense.
You see, one or two people moving in, high-profile people as well, with their comments about what City may or may not have done. Last week, when compared to Jose Mourinho with his six-finger gesture at Anfield, Guardiola said, maybe we're similar, but he won 3 and I won 6. In response, Mourinho said, I want to win, but I want to win clean and fairly. If I can't win cleanly, I'd rather lose. This was Guardiola last week on Mourinho nibbling back at him.
It was a joke, but it's another one in the huge list that they want the team being in in the League One or the Conference One. So, but I would say to Jose the same. So we are innocent until the proven is guilty. So, and after that we'll see what happens. But it's what it is. So it was completely a joke. So I think both. With our teams, him with Chelsea, myself with Man City, we can sit in the table with Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, right? For the many, many titles we won. So, if I've offended him, I'm so sorry. But it was a joke. The fact is he had 3, I had 6. So this is a fact. But the intention was completely fine.
So he's got 3, Mourinho, and I've got 6, and it was all a bit of a joke. So it got a bit tit for tat because Mourinho responded to what Pep said.
We worked together for 3 years. I was an assistant and he was a player. I like him a lot and he knows that. He likes me and I know that. There are no problems in between us. One thing are words and another thing is deep feelings. It's not true that I want Man City to be relegated. It's true that I like justice, and many times small clubs are punished by 5 euros, are punished by 10 euros that went over the budgets and the rules for financial fair play, for example. I suffered in Roma 3 years with great limitations about it. I don't think it's fair that the big sharks, when I say sharks, I say financial sharks, they always find a way to escape the rules. I'm just a football man, a man that loves football.
I'm just a football man, a man that loves football. I just want justice. Simon, I heard you say to Danny there, I don't know how he dares.
I don't. I mean, Chelsea are just a product of timing, aren't they? I mean, Chelsea did precisely what Man City did without governance. So
with icing on.
When Abramovich was there.
Sure. I mean, ultimately, the ultimate financial doping was Chelsea. But there wasn't the same governance in place. And the governance has gotten tighter and is more secure. Look, Man City are, in the eyes of those that have charged them, guilty, having to prove their innocence, because they've been charged with very specific and explicit offences. It's not a question people are asking of them. People are telling them. The fact that they want to bring them into justice, into what we loosely term as justice in football, whether it be UEFA, because of course it's a massive conspiracy against Man City. It's not a massive conspiracy against Man City. There were very legitimate charges for Man City to be asked to answer, and they're answering them. They've been charged before. They were found guilty in 2013 of something. They got a €60 million fine. They got suspended from Europe. That means that they have form. That was then pared back. The ban was rescinded and the fine was reduced. They've then been charged again. They were found to be guilty by UEFA. They didn't like that, so they appealed it to the Court of Arbitration of Sport.
Yeah,
and they paid fines. They've been uncooperative. They've been difficult to contend with. Should they be easy to contend with? Perhaps is their argument. I don't know. But I mean, Mourinho getting involved in the debate about. I don't personally want to see Man City relegated. I don't think anybody wants to see them relegated. But if they have, what they're being alleged to have done is committed fraud. If they've committed fraud, and some of the ridiculous arguments that get put forward, it can't happen that way because there will be too many high-profile people that would be, don't talk absolute nonsense. Stefan Borson comes in and recycles that tripe because people are part of conspiracy theories. That's why conspiracies exist. That's why Enron and Arthur Andersen's, the world biggest accountancy firm, collapsed on the back of it. That's why the post office was what it was. So it's not beyond the wit of man to believe that people will say things in hearings that aren't entirely true.
Yeah.
So why Mourinho's involved in this conversation, I don't know. I don't know why he needs to opine on it. It's got nothing to do with him.
Oh, certainly he was asked, but do you think people like Guardiola and Mourinho on this topic of City's charges, it shouldn't descend into tit for tat? He said, she said.
But it does because it's theatre. But the irony of it is that Mourinho wants to use the rules as a weaponisation of this conversation.
He did exactly the same thing.
Well, then he was lucky because
he was a
didn't have any
benefactor.
rules because they did exactly the same thing. So he's saying the rules are the rules, but you didn't have. If the rules had been there, would you have won 3 Premier Leagues, Jose?
Maybe not.
Because ultimately the governance was a free for all. Man City got caught by the product of their time. Chelsea didn't.
And let's not forget, just quickly, a lot of Man City's misdemeanours before Pep got through the door.
Yes.
Right.
Paying Mancini,
which is a fair point.
What Pep's done is still outstanding, and Pep and Jose did the same thing without the rules being there. So,
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.